what I wanted to talk about today was kind of a threefold thing. It's purpose, ego, and truth. Okay? It kind of breaks down in that way. Because last week I spoke about the difference between spirit and soul. A lot of people don't know that distinction or that difference, but I thought I wanted to dive a little further into the soul. Because as I mentioned last week, the spirit is actually the quantum field. It's actually the large consciousness that we're all a part of, which we can consider ourselves to be engaged with, like on a grand scale. Spirit, God, the universal energy force, and the quantum field is spirit, correct? That's why when we talk about, let's say, spiritual beings or beings that are not in physical form, we talk about spirit, right? But the soul, and this is the distinct difference, the soul is on a personal journey, okay? The soul is your own connection, your personal, incredibly individualized journey through this process that we call living, okay? And remember, we are always spiritual beings, right? Trying to be a physical human and doing the best we can at it, which is already a difficult thing to do. You know, we are incredibly courageous souls because we decided to come into this very dense three-dimensional plane that doesn't really suit our soul. Okay? That's why some people, when they've left their body and had near-death experiences and come back to their body, feel literally as if they have been put back into something that they do not fit in. It feels uncomfortable. And in fact, it's that uncomfortableness in our nature that tells us whether we are on purpose or off purpose. Okay? That's our compass. Those are our emotions, you know? Source gave us an incredible tool, which is our emotions. They are our GPS. Okay? So I'm going to use my own journey as a foundational principle to show you what I'm going to talk about today. Okay? Because my personal soul's journey has been something that I've expanded and discovered through many, many different tools and messages that have come into my path. And I'm not special in that sense. We all have that ability and those messages that are coming in every day, all the time, because spiritual beings and ascended masters and people that are in another realm that we cannot see are assisting us on this journey all the time. And they're trying to get that message through. But this density that we live in, and the reason I mentioned the ego, okay, Dr. Wayne Dyer used to say that the best acronym for the ego is edging God out. Okay? Edging God out. Remember that. When you are in your ego state, when you are in pure physicality, three-dimensional, this space and time, our regular world around us, we are, to a certain degree, edging God out. And what we want to do is connect with our soul first. Once we do that, then we're able to be better in this world because we're being authentic and true. Okay? I hope that makes sense to you to some degree. Okay? So I wanted to read a quote really quickly by someone who came to this planet and probably made one of the most significant contributions to the way we live today. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. The person that said that was Steve Jobs. Believe it or not. Talk about contributing to our journey today. I'm watching you guys on this incredible device called the iPad. And what he says in this quote really, really resonated with me because, sorry, Meech, you got to mute yourself. We've all been trained from.
Sorry, my dog just fell.
So the first part of what he says is your time is limited. Okay. So the first time that I experienced that my time was limited was actually when I was a child. When I was a little girl, maybe up until the age of 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, in that span of my life, I was naturally clairvoyant, naturally clairaudient. I remember seeing people that were not there and telling my mom. I remember getting deep into prayer and meditation just naturally. And I would lift off and go up into the ceiling. And I would be like, oh, what the heck am I doing up here? You know, it was very, very natural for me to have this experience. I didn't think anything of it. And, you know, luckily my parents were very, very, into the metaphysical world. So to them, it was pretty normal too. They were like, oh, look how cool that is. You know, Michi can attest to that phenomenon. So for me, that part of my journey was incredible. I had really, really lucid dreams. And I still, to this day, have very, very, very lucid dreams and can distinctly tell the difference between when I'm having an average dream, you know, from having had something too heavy to eat, or when I'm really, really connecting to my soul. And some of those dreams were very, very prophetic for my life. One of them was that I knew I always was going to have 2 children. I knew that I was going to have a boy first and then a girl second. I knew that. And another kind of dream or prophetic information that I received during that time was that I would be dying by the age of 50. So I didn't get scared per se about it. I wasn't afraid, but it was just like information. It was like, well, this is what's going to happen. And I just took it in and kind of, you know, went on my journey. But the truth is that inside of my soul, inside of my head, or let me call it the ego side of me, all right, the thought process side of me, saw that as what Steve Jobs says, your time is limited. That's how I interpreted that information. My time was limited. So I went on an all-out speed rush journey to live my life as quickly as I possibly could. And I'm telling you, I went on a fast speed train. Okay. I tried to do everything at the same time. I went to high school and college. I got married and had children. I started my business. I did everything in this super hyper active, fast-paced mode because I felt like my time was limited. This is what I thought, right? This was in the subconscious mind, guys. So be careful the thoughts that you have, you don't even know where they come from, but they're there. So lo and behold, I decided that I was going to live that fast pace, do everything that I needed to get done. coming from a place of ego. Okay. Part of that journey for me was that I attracted into my life an abusive man and had children. That came from a past life. And I've actually shared that in another Zoom call that you have listened to. So that journey for me was actually quite beautiful, because by living that experience, it allowed me to have the contrast that I needed to make better decisions. Okay. Now, I wanted to share with you something that happened to me in just before I was turning 50. So imagine I'm like 40 something, right? When I met that abusive person that became my husband, I was 14. I spent 8 years with that person until I finally decided to break away from the abuse in that relationship. But what happened when I was in that relationship was that my vibration became very angry. Okay? The abuse that I went through during that relationship caused my vibration to come down. And guess what came down with it? All of my clairvoyance, all of my connection to spirit, not all of it, never all of it, because I don't believe that you lose it all. But I literally realized that the anger that I felt from the trauma of being in that relationship like brought me down to a level that I couldn't hear anymore. I couldn't get the messages that I needed to hear. So I was getting close to 50. I was 45, 46, 47, and 48. At 48, all of a sudden, I had purged all of the anger from those experiences through being exposed to meditation and praying and meditation and praying and meditation. I got to a point where my vibration raised enough that I was able to start listening to the messages again. And I clearly, distinctly started feeling something compelling me to do something, to change. I couldn't figure out what that was. I couldn't figure it out. And I was still under the belief that something that I only had a couple of years to go, guys. This is what scared the shit out of me. Here I was on this fast speed train to get to do everything that I needed to do on this planet. But that journey was more based on the things that I needed to get done, like the ego and to be, versus what I'm supposed to be doing in this planet. And the reason I say that is because I wanted to talk to you guys about the path that we are all taking. Some of you are much younger than I am. Some of you are closer to my age. But the breakdown of age development stages goes like this, okay? And you might want to write this stuff down, okay? From the ages of 4 to 8, from the ages of 0 to 3, okay? We're basically in just survival mode. Look at this beautiful baby. So these babies that you have in your arms, Christina, and all of you that still have young children, you want to observe that from the ages of 0 to 3, they're just in survival mode. Basically, they're incredibly connected to source, by the way. They are closer to their past soulful process than they are to this human conditioning that we're giving them, okay? But they're still in just survival. They're just adapting to their physical forms on this planet. You get me? From the age of 9 to 13, begins social interaction, right? This is when we are becoming either an introvert or an extrovert. We're learning the kind of personality that we are taking on in this life.
B, what about from 4 to 8?
Excuse me. Yes. From 4 to 8, sorry. From 4 to 8 is when we're obtaining a personality. Okay. This is, we're forming our groups. Okay. We're obtaining a personality. From the ages of 9 to 13 is when we begin social interaction. Sorry. Okay. Then from the ages of 14 to 17 is when we start developing groups such as fitting in. Where do we fit in this world? That's why at 14 through 17, those teenage years are so formative. They're so formative, and they can either be a very positive experience for us or they can be a very negative experience for us. Okay. I personally, at 14, remember I just said that, at 14 is when I rebelled from my blissful, clairvoyant, loving family and dived completely into an opposite state of dysfunction. That was my personal experience. And I created a group for myself that was completely alien to my soul's journey. Okay. But I later realized that it was incredibly purposeful. It made me who I am. Then from the ages of 18 to 24, this is when we are seeking our identity. We are seeking our identity. Oh, sorry, you wanted to hear. From 9 to 13 is social interaction. This is when we are discovering whether we are introverts or extroverts. Okay? And by the way, let me just take a pause. If you're an introvert or you're an extrovert, the way that you charge your batteries is different. That's all it is. Okay? The extrovert charges their batteries with others, with people, in groups. The introvert charges their batteries by being alone. So for example, if you are an introvert and your partner is an extrovert, you have to respect each other's battery charging. Okay? And if you learn that, really, you'll be able to interact with those two energies very easily. And also with your children, by the way. Remember that if your children are more of an extrovert or an introvert, if you respect the way that they get their batteries charged, you'll be able to communicate with them a lot more. Okay? All right. So then, where was I? Age 18 to 24, we're seeking identity. So basically, this is when we are trying to find our profession. What are we going to be doing with our life, right? The actual ego side of doing, okay? Not the soul journey, the ego side of the journey. We're finding our way, and this is when we start deciding what kind of career we're going to have. From the ages of 25 through 32, we are seeking foundation. We're seeking love. We're seeking family. We're seeking a mission. Okay? And I want you guys, before I finish, I want to go back to mission, and I'm going to give you a way to create your own personal mission statement, because this is an incredible part of purposeful living. Okay? At age 33 to 40, we're at reevaluation of our lives. This is when we call that the midlife crisis, right? When people all of a sudden decide, oh my God, I married the wrong person. What the hell am I doing here? Right? That's when most divorces occur. This is the midlife crisis stage. This is when we make changes in our career because we say, oh my God, I don't think I did the right thing. This is not fulfilling me. I'm not in the right path. I don't get this. Why did I make these choices? And we start questioning all of this stuff that is in our lives. Then between the ages of 41 and 50 is when we seek meaning. Seek meaning, stability, and that's when we start questioning God and our spirituality. from ages 50 and up, we go back, believe it or not, to survival. We're worried about our health, our finances, and we're questioning our past decisions. Now, the reason that I'm bringing up this age development stages is because what I realized when I was about to get to the age of 50, and when my prophetic dream was coming back to me hard, was that I was finally reaching a point where I had enough history. In other words, 5 decades in, I could actually look back, because remember in last class, I said that history is just looking backward, right? So we each have our own history. Each of us has a certain amount of time that has created a foundational imprint on our ego and our soul. Okay? And that foundational imprint is our history. I can't stress enough how important it is to sit down with yourself and take a pad of paper and a pencil and really write down your own history. But not from a perspective of the ego, not like they've trained us to do. Oh, from this year to this year, we graduated from elementary school. Then we did this, we went to college, or we went to what high school did I go to? No. I'm talking about what is the emotional imprint that each decade of your life has created. And if you don't have 5 decades under your belt yet, divide it up in half. Go 5 years at a time. And think about how you felt deeply in that time. So close your eyes and imagine yourself 0 to 5 years old. Take a deep breath and think, when I was 0 to 5 years old, how did I feel? Was my life pleasant? Was the surroundings in my home comfortable? Was there happiness? Was there love? Was there joy? You understand? And the reason I'm asking you to do this is because you want to create a foundational history. It's almost like taking a diagnostic test, okay? You want to see how you felt in each period of your life. Because the energy that you had in that period, while you analyze these points of social development, imprinted in you the pain bodies or the positive feelings that you have, that you express and behave through today. Do you get me? Okay. So let's say from the age, for me personally, right? From 14, which was it 14 to 17, that imprint in my life was a freaking emotional roller coaster ride of extreme love and extreme dysfunction. And it wasn't even created by my own family. It was created by myself. I decided to go with this guy, have this boyfriend that turned into my husband, that took me on a roller coaster of trauma. That was my choice. And it left me with an emotional imprint, a pain body in myself that had a lot of anger. And I had to purge it. Okay? So I want you to use this exercise to analyze where you have been. Because where you have been creates the patterns of where you're going. But you can change them. And that's the beautiful thing. Because for me, that pain body created an imprint that I decided to change. It got to the point that I said, no more. I am blessed. In fact, today I told you, and last week I said, bless the pain that you feel because it's making you understand what you don't want and creating new desires in you to move forward in a new way. So what happened to me about finding my purpose as I got to the age of 50, and this is what I realized, is that if you do not get on your soul's journey by the time you're 50, instead of going upward in your strategic life, you're going downward. Okay? By the time, it's almost like we're taking this little journey like this, we're going up the mountain, right? And then when we're 50, right here, we have a choice. We can keep going up, or we can start the decline. And literally our soul knows this, by the way. Our souls know this. That's why so many people after the age of 50 start declining in their physical body, in their desire for living, right? Those people that you see that are thriving at the age of 70 and 80, it's because they have found and been cool with their purpose. You get me? Their soul's journey, not the ego journey, not the amount of things that they've purchased in their life, not the cars that they drive, not the career that they have. If they have connected to their soul's journey and been felt on purpose, they are in an upward climb. If you are not discovering your true purpose, by that time, you start the decline. And this is not something to be afraid of. This is just something to be conscious of. So I want you to write down these words, okay? These are titles and priorities of your soul's, of possible soul journeys, okay? Leader, communicator, observer, instigator, warrior, teacher, nurturer, manipulator, self-sacrificers, recruiter, changer. Okay? I want you to take a...
I'm sorry, repeat that all over again. I'm so sorry. You went kind of fast.
Okay, here we go. Leader, communicator, observer, instigator, warrior, teacher, nurturer, manipulator, self-sacrificer, recruiter, changer. Do you guys have it? Okay. So this list are...
I'm sorry, can you repeat it, please?
Okay.
So sorry.
Okay. All right, one more time. Leader, communicator. This is actually a really good exercise because you got to look at the underlying energy of each of these to be able to see who you are within them. Observer, instigator, nurturer, manipulator, warrior, recruiter, self-sacrificer, teacher, changer. Okay, so this list helped me to discover my true purpose. Now, it happened in a very strange way. The person that helped me with this information was actually an angel channeler, okay? And when I read this list, I happened to be in a group of people. We were in a group of 25 people. And in that room, we were asked to look at this list and decide which one felt right to us. Okay? And it's funny because I circled leader, I circled warrior, I circled communicator, and I circled changer, right? Thinking, wow, I think that resonates with me. And I invite you to do the same for yourself. Circle what you think you might be, even if you're not 100% sure, okay? Because you got to dive into this emotionally, okay? You don't want to come from your head, okay? You want to come from your heart. So if this list is for you to keep and you don't have to decide immediately, I want you to really take some time to feel your way through the list, not think your way through the list, and try to come from your own personal place, not from what's been told to you by your parents, by your partners, by your whatever. You are on your own personal soul's journey, okay? And the underlying energy on this journey says something. And by the time that you're 50, your journey, your actual life process needs to be aligned with the energy of your soul's purpose. Okay? Hopefully, that also aligns with what you do in your career. Because if that happens, you will be the most joyous person that exists on this planet. You get me? I found that. But it took me years to find my way back home. And what ended up happening for me was this angel reader, after he saw what I had circled, came up to me and he said, you're all of these that you picked, but most of all, you are a teacher. And I looked at him like I was like, what? I mean, I probably said in my head, what the fuck? Are you serious? I'm not a teacher. I'm not a teacher. I'm anything but a teacher. I've never desired to be a teacher. And he said to me, and he looked at me straight in the eyes and he said, you are a teacher. I was like 48, 49 when he said this to me. And I walked out the door saying, este tipo un come mierda. I can't believe this doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. What do you mean I'm a teacher? I've never been a teacher. I'm a creator. I'm a designer. I'm a communicator. I'm all these things, but I'm not a teacher. And guess what I'm doing today? I'm fucking teaching.
You're an awesome teacher.
I'm a teacher. So, you know what? We sometimes deny what we are. In fact, we do that most of the time. And the journey that we're on in this call is to find our authentic self, to speak our truth, and to know what our soul is wanting, not what our ego wants. Because our ego is just the stuff that we've been told through our history. You understand? That's not the truth. That's the false illusion that we live in. The truth is what your soul is saying. And let me tell you something. Your soul will scream the hell out of itself if you're not on purpose. And you will have a split system. Last week, I talked about being integrated and coherent. That's what we're doing here. We're trying to become coherent with ourselves, with our own nature, and then with the world. Because there's anything that the world needs right now more than anything is coherence, harmony, the balance that has been completely thrown off. So remember, I've always said, you can't give what you don't have. Fill your cup first, right? That's our mantra. We fill ourselves first with self-love, with self-care. So to understand that, we need to know what our soul's journey is. We need to know what our true purpose is. Because without purpose, we have no... Hey, who's on big time? I don't know what happened there. You get me? So if we can ask ourselves, what am I? Am I an instigator? Because let me tell you something. When I heard the word instigator, I was like, who the hell wants to be an instigator? But you know what? Instigators are crucial people. Is Deborah self-admitting I'm an instigator? No. I can tell you that I know people in my life that are instigators.
What I was saying was that I know people that are instigators.
Yes, yes. And guess what? They have a tremendous purpose. Instigators actually make you angry enough to do something. We have a president that is an instigator.
I swear I was just about to say that to you.
Yeah. No, we have a complete, and he is completely on his purpose, guys. I mean, he could not be more on purpose. And he'll probably live until 102. Because if you're an instigator and you're on your purpose, it doesn't matter if to the world you look like an asshole. That's your purpose. Okay? My mother-in-law, who I love dearly and probably am one of the only people that understand her, is 96 years old. And that woman is an instigator. Okay? She eats total crap. I mean, it's the only woman I know that still eats Twinkies. Okay? Twinkies. Her diet consists of Coke, Twinkies, croquetas, pastelitos, and she's 96. Okay? And guess what? She's an instigator. And she loves being an instigator. Therefore, she is on purpose. So you see what I'm saying here, guys? It doesn't matter what you are. The key is that you need to know what you are and be that. Because if you're trying to be something else, you're not on your purpose. And you will decline. And you will get sick and tired of this life and say, you know what? Your soul will say, you know what? Yeah, let's get out of here, man. We're done. We're done. You're never going to make it. You're not going to finish the race. You don't have enough juice. You get that? So we have, like Steve Jobs says, a limited amount of time on this planet. So why waste it being off purpose? Why waste it not being in your truth? Why waste it not contributing and serving in your whole self, connected to soul first? So I want you guys to use these tools to find your way home. Because the moment you find your way home and you believe it and understand it and recognize yourself for who you are and get on that path, the faster you will be on the journey to joy, whatever that may be. And it has nothing to do with the conditioned careers that everybody wants you to be. What were you going to say, Deb?
I was going to ask, what happens if you're over 50 and you come to realize this, or you come to know this, right? And is there a way of turning it around?
Of course. That's what I'm trying to say, is that the faster, it's like you're, how can I explain this? Okay. It's like you're going on this journey, right? You're going to take a trip now. You're going to get in your car from here to Miami and you're going to go to California, right? You wouldn't do that without a map, right? but a lot of us do. A lot of us get in our car and we start driving, right? And we start driving, and it's first or second day. I think I'm going east. No, I think I'm going west. No, maybe I'm going north. Oh shit. I think I made a wrong turn. Right? So now all of a sudden you decided, oh my God, I think I better get a GPS. I'm a mess. I'm a total freaking mess. Let me get a map, let me get a GPS, and let me put it on. Now I put my GPS on and it's telling me where to go. Does it matter at which part of the journey? Only if you have a limited time, correct? Like if you have 3 days to get to California and you wasted the first 2 days running around in Texas, okay, you have a limited time. But if you get back on path, you could make up the difference, right? I'm like, okay, I think I can do this. But you're feeling it. You're feeling like now I'm on course. Now I can make it. I'm getting there, right? And then maybe you decide, you know what? The goal that I had to become this, all right, so I can't do it in 3 years. Maybe I have to do it in 5. But now I feel empowered to do this because I know I'm on path. I know I'm on purpose. I know I'm going to get there. And all of a sudden, guess what happens to your soul? Your soul is your biggest cheerleader. Your soul is saying, yes, thank God, she found a way. And the angels and the universe and all the masters are going to conspire to make whatever you need happen. All of a sudden, crap is going to start showing up and you're going to be like, wow, how did that happen? Look at that client that I just got. I can't believe that this is, look at that. Oh my God, I received this check. I didn't even know I was going to get this check. You know what I'm saying? Because your soul is going to say, yes. Remember I told you that the universe only has one word? The universe only says yes. So if you figured it out right now, that's great. The younger you are, the better, because the more time you will have to do beautiful things on this planet. Do you think that Steve Jobs was done? Do you think he was done when he left? Well, obviously, he must have been. But can you imagine if we would have had Steve Jobs for another 10 years? Right? What an amazing contribution of a human being. And yet, something in him was off spiritually, right? On his soul level, something was off because he wouldn't have died. He had a lot of anger in him. I haven't seen the movie about him, or read his book, but I can tell you that from what I've heard, he realized too late that there was a lot of stuff that he had to purge. And basically it was that even though he was completely on his purpose from a career perspective, his life and love was a mess. You understand? And that's out of balance. You cannot be out of balance with yourself. So when you are out of balance, when you're in fear and not in love, you cause an incoherence in your body because it's all connected. Right? So things that when I discovered that I needed to be this teacher, even though I still was in denial, by the way, at 48, 49, I'm in denial. I'm saying to myself, I don't know how the fuck I'm going to be a teacher. I can't be a teacher. I'm not a teacher, And then all of a sudden I get inspired to write this book that teaches a process, right? I go to a business retreat and the business retreat turns into my mission statement. My mission statement is exactly the title of my book. I create sacred spaces so that people can live inspired lives. So I want you to write down the foundation for your mission statement. Because your personal mission statement has to be aligned with your soul's journey. So it says, I help, do, create. You can fill in that blank. I help, I said, I create sacred spaces, right? But you can say, I help blank, do blank, so that blank. You understand? That's yours. For me, it was, I create sacred spaces so that people can live inspired lives. That was my fill in the blanks. And that's what became the title of my book. Now, guess what? 7 years later, guys, 7 years later, I now must rewrite my mission. That's what I'm doing today. Because I realized that it's not just about, for me, interior design. It's much more than that.
And also your mission changes through life. You know, you might have had a certain mission at a stage of your life, and that
Exactly. That's the key. It doesn't stay stagnant. On the contrary, we're in a constant state of expansion. We are not meant to stay in one place. Stagnant waters die. We must expand. That's what we're supposed to do. So you have to trust your soul because it always knows your truth. Okay? We want to be fully in our lives without compromising the integrity of our soul. Do you get what that means? That means that you cannot betray yourself. The last thing you want to do is betray yourself. You have to be fully integrated with your soul's journey, whatever that is. And then our purpose is to find the courage in our souls to be our truth, to be the truth.
Bea, I want to point out how important that is, because a lot of times it's so much easier to coast through life than to actually take responsibility for your life. And the fact that your life, God made you for a purpose. You are here to do something. So do it. Don't just coast, you know?
I know, but sometimes, and I'm thank you for sharing that, Lourdes, because I find that to be 100% true. And sometimes I have been in the past, in my history, guys, like I've explained, in my history, I was a fully driven, you call me whatever you want, workaholic, extreme, like do everything. Like if there was extreme sports for careers, that was me. Okay. That's me.
For you, it was life.
For me, it was life. Yes.
It was life.
Like, did it all at the same time because, but you know what? That's kind of like eating the most delicious gourmet meal and swallowing it whole without tasting it. Okay. You got to take one bite at a time. And I have learned to slow down and forgive myself when I need to put it in neutral and coast. Because sometimes coasting brings clarity. Sometimes. Because I can tell you that when I drove through, my life, I missed out on a lot of beautiful pauses. And I think that a lot of people today, this coronavirus pandemic has created that moment. A lot of people are realizing that we can pause, that it is possible to stop the world for a moment and get off. It is possible.
The Bible says it. We said this the other day, and I said it to everybody the other day. The Bible says to stand still. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. We're standing still.
Correct.
Because we're all in awakening mode. Well, not all, but a lot of us are in awakening mode.
We are. We're taking this pause, and I've learned to embrace the pause. It took me so many years. And today I can tell you that I'm on my 55th year of life. I'm well into my 5th decade. And I can distinctly tell you the differences that each decade brought and the energy behind each and the purpose behind each. Those that weren't feeling that great and those that were. And that's what I invite you to do. I invite you to take that history lesson in your own life. Make believe that you're writing an essay about a character called you. And take each little group of years, whether you are very young, because you only have 2 decades in, or whether you are like me in my 5th decade, break it down and write it down and dive deep into what is the core theme of your mission on this planet. Because I want you all to be on that mission, whatever it may be. Whatever it may be. There is no wrong or right in that mission. It just is. In fact, it's always right if it's real. Okay? If it's fake, if it's not your truth, that's when it feels wrong. You get that? That's when it feels wrong. And that's when you get into all sorts of trouble. You get sick. You don't feel well. Your chakras are completely out of balance. Okay? It's when you find that authentic soul's truth and you live it and you go into the future with that connected. That's when you do your best work. And that's when the angels sing, because that's what they want from us. We are co-creators in this process. We do not create by ourselves. But the goal is to create from a place of love and not from a place of fear. So your purpose is not to the work of your ego, okay? But the work of your soul. That's plain and simple. And my journey, thank goodness, has gotten very, very aligned. In fact, every day more and more, I am aligned, further aligned. And ironically, I am the teacher. I have fully accepted the fact that I am a teacher. I am not in denial. I am ready to be on that mission. And I happen to do it through my work, but I'm also now doing it with you this way. And nothing makes me feel more fulfilled than to be able to share these Sundays with you guys, because I know that when I do this, my soul is completely happy. As happy as when I create a beautiful home for someone. And that is a unique experience. And guess what? I've made it 5 years beyond the point that I thought that I would die. And the minute that I reached 50 and I realized, oh my God, I'm still here. What's next? All of a sudden, I stopped being that fast-paced, workaholic, crazy-driven woman that I was. When I realized that I'm on a new lease. I have a brand new lease. And I've realized that that's actually the biggest blessing, because I realized it was like a near-death experience, really, when you think about it, because I truly believed that I wouldn't be here. And I think that that's what happens to a lot of people when they have a scary disease, when something happens that threatens their life, and they realize that they have a limited time. We have a limited time here, guys, no matter what. What do you want to do with it? How do you want to spend it? And I guarantee you that as you look back through your history in those increments, the memories that resonate the most are going to be the ones that were the most emotionally charged with love. Because at the end of the day, that's really the only thing we can take with us. That's the only baggage that crosses over. No other baggage does. Okay? Nothing else crosses over. Even no matter how many tombs the Egyptians built and fit with stuff, nothing went over. Okay? So we want to start from the end in mind. What do we want the end to be? What does our tombstone say on it? When we get that clear, we work backwards to this point. So I hope I've given you some tools today. I'm open for anybody's questions if you have them. You all look very contemplative. I love that. I've given you guys a lot to think about.
I was just about to say that I think we're all thinking a lot.
That's good.
I have
That's
a
good.
question.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm not sure if you already mentioned it, but I'm really interested in this, the list that you gave us on discovering your true purpose, that with the angel and your experience. So how can we use this list to find our true purpose?
Well, the list is, think of the list as words that are going to spark a feeling in you. Okay? When you read each word, I want you to take a pause and say, do I feel like that person? Because on that list, if you notice, there's a word called observer, right? Being an observer in this life is perfectly okay. You don't have to be a doer per se to be on purpose. That's why I mentioned the word instigator, because a lot of people think that instigator is a negative term, right? You would think that a person that's an instigator is a negative person, and they can be. There's been a lot of instigators that have changed the world in our history. I can mention a few, like Hitler, Fidel Castro.
Martin Luther King.
Yeah, yes, Martin Luther King. They are instigators, and they could be considered negative if you want to choose to look at it that way, just like you can choose to look at the coronavirus as a negative if you wish. I don't. I think of this virus as a positive because of all of the things that it has done to change our lives and to help us to take this pause and analyze how to go forward and to change the systems that are no longer working, right? So when you read this list, read it from a perspective of how do I feel about that word? What one? I'm curious, which one stands out at you?
I feel like self-sacrificer and communicator. I don't know. I'm like, because I'm really, I don't know, like now I'm starting to care more about what I think and what I want for me personally. I'm starting to be really, not really, but I'm starting to become more selfish when it comes to being me, because I've always been like a selfless person. Like, I would care more about everyone else, like pleasing everyone else, starting with family and then, with friends and just everyone. So I think self-sacrificer.
Interesting. That's interesting that you say that, because a lot of us do that. We do self-sacrifice a great deal. It's part of the conditioning that comes with being a woman. You know, we've been trained very, very well to do that.
I think you can't help it being a parent. You self-sacrifice a lot.
Yes, you do. But I think that, remember, I charge you with this word. Instead of saying selfish, I want you to say self-full. Whenever you think about the word selfish, I'm being selfish, because we say that inside of ourselves. We may not say that out loud, but we do. We say, I'm being so selfish. No. I'm being self-full. I'm being self-full. And that's okay. And you're just starting to discover how old are you?
I'm 21.
Okay. So you are in that stage that you are just beginning to figure things out. You don't have a lot of history under your belt yet, but believe me, remember to do that exercise of breaking it down and look at how you're already shifting gears. You're already discovering, I'm a people pleaser, but that may not be who I truly am. I think I'm more of a leader and a communicator. At least that's what I see. I see you as a leader and a communicator. And I think that the self-sacrificing part of you is just the conditioning that you've been given. That you think you're supposed to be that way. But you're going to find your truth. You're going to find who you really are.
She's an amazing leader.
I feel like you're totally reading me.
One of the things that I am is an emotional intuitive. So I feel you and I'm able to give you back the information that I see. And I see you as a leader. And I do see you as a communicator. The thing is, you're just so young.
Yeah.
And you don't feel confident yet, but you will. And just the fact that you're on this call today tells me how spot on you are in finding your way.
She giggles when she gets nervous, when she's communicating and trying to lead. She goes, you see that little laugh that she has right there?
I'm muting myself.
Well, don't be afraid. Mira, don't do this. Because we need to hear your voice.
If I could add something, Bea.
Yes.
I found my purpose in my astrology chart. A lot of people don't realize that your sun sign is not only, it's only like 8% of who you really are. You have to look deeper, find who that I found to be my blueprint in life. And I believe it's everybody's blueprint. The day and time that you are born brings this energy along with you, which is your purpose.
100%.
So I do recommend looking into your natal chart. I really found a lot of information there, and it gave a lot of definition to things I didn't even know needed defining.
Exactly. I think you're absolutely right, Tatiana. The natal chart is a GPS for life. It's an imprint of every energetic body that was in your space the moment that you transitioned from soul to body. Can you imagine how important that is? How important the energy behind that exact moment is.
And we as women are that portal.
Exactly. Talk about a miracle. If there is ever been a miracle, is the moment of birth. Okay? The moment in which we leave the womb and we take our first breath.
You know, somebody just said this, but that was an amazing thought. Women are portals from the spiritual world into the human world.
Yes. That's why
oh my God.
That's why men think we're so scary. Because we have powers that they could not even begin to have. And that's why they shut us down. That's why they created this illusion that we could be bad or witches. And that's unfortunately why religion pushed the woman away, because only we can bring life. Only we can bring life, you know, and we are the nurturing spirit We are the mothers of this planet. So definitely we're portals, and it's scary to be portals. I mean, there's so much mysticism and false information that was created as propaganda throughout the last 1500 years, in which matriarchal society disappeared and patriarchal society appeared. And we are conditioned by that. We're conditioned to not speak our truth. Okay? Because our truth comes naturally, by the way, naturally comes from where it needs to come, which is our heart. Men, by their own gender, by their DNA, it comes from the head. Okay? They think things through. We feel things through. You get that? But that doesn't mean that one is bad and not and good. We've had this conversation in other calls, the balance between the masculine and the feminine. We each have the masculine and feminine within us, and it's in that balance that we find our way. But I do feel 100%, Tatiana, that the astrological chart is it's a GPS. It's a blueprint of your life. And I've had my natal chart done. I've had it analyzed many times, and I gave that to both of my children. That's how strongly I feel about it. And I can tell you that it is not what, mumbo jumbo, horoscope-y thing in the Cosmopolitan magazine. No. That is completely, the thing is that it also has had a very bad rap. Propaganda saying that that's meaningless. It's not meaningless. Our ancestors and the ancient civilizations studied the stars in order to understand and better predict what was going to happen. So it is, if not, why would they be there? If our planet, if you can analyze it, our planet has incredible force and energy. Imagine all of the rest of the spheres, what they're doing energetically.
Imagine the moon, which influences the tides. Our bodies are 70 to 80% water. Mm-hmm. It influences our body. Imagine the rest of the heavenly bodies and the planets. They all influence us.
And there's a reason that the women carry the menstrual cycle. Exactly. We are connected, whether we like it or not, to these physical bodies. And the moon is definitely one of them. I don't know. Florinda and I have a constant talk about how's the moon? Oh my goodness. No wonder. It's a week before the full moon. I can feel it. Okay. Because it's all connected, guys. It's all incredibly connected. So yes, I agree. Get your astrological chart done if you can by someone that's really, capable of reading it well, because it is like a GPS. I
am going to school for it. Come back to me in a year.
Yes. Tatiana's studying that. She's actually finding her way, and I've told her that is definitely her calling. She's in the medical field right now. I mean, but really what she is a healer. You are a healer.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's funny that those words that I gave you guys also should include things like healer. Okay. Mm-hmm. There's other words that are part of, I'm actually going to send out after this call what I love to call, I use those few words from the angel reading that I got that helped me to find out that I was a teacher. But there's many, many archetypes that we can resonate with. And I haven't gotten into that because it's quite a lengthy list. It's better if I send it out to you and maybe we discuss it next Sunday. But it's a huge list of archetypes. I love the work by Carolyn Nice that she did Sacred Contracts. Okay. And she studied archetypes as the energetic basis for our purposes and how it's connected. She's a medical intuitive. So she's the kind of person that'll look at your body and she sees if something is complete.
Leave it.
Okay.
Leave it as.
Who was the angel reader?
It was Martin Crespo.
I was about to say that because I've had the same experience with him.
Yeah, Martin Crespo. That was, but more than anything, you know, all of these years since I started actually coming back to myself, I told the story of what I was when I was a child. It took me literally, guys, 40 years to come back to myself. I'm helping all of you find it earlier. My goal and what I want to give back as a gift is to anyone that can find their path, the earlier the better, and to stay on it and to not be afraid to speak that truth, because that's the mission. The mission is to be authentically in yourself, to make authenticity one of your core values, and to be truthful to yourself and to be self-full, okay, with self-love. And that's the only way that you can go out into the world and give it away. Okay, that's the theme. So anything that I can do from these years that I have studied and dove deep myself that I can share, that's what I try to do. So you all look very, very like, whew. I can feel your energy is like, whoa. I got a lot to think about today. I can see it in your faces. It's so, some days you're all like, no, but today,
Bea, so tell me about having your natal charts read. So I've had mine read a couple times, but they don't give you like a report or anything you can reference. Are they supposed to?
well, it depends. It depends on the person. I mean, there is written work that is generated from computers based, but it's the interpreter that really, really allows you to understand what's there. Because I mean, honestly, it can look like hieroglyphics. Okay.
Lord, if you ever do it again, you need to record it, because if you can record it, like I recorded I've had it done, and I believe exactly what you're saying, Tatiana. When you go back and start listening, because it's a lot of information at the same time, and you're like freaking out. You're like, okay, wait. This is about my life. This is about my love. This is about my health. But if you record it, then you can go back and take your time and stop and listen. What does he mean by that? Oh, okay, I get this. You know? So if you ever do it again, just record it on your phone, on one of those voice memo things. That's what I do with all my readings.
I'm gonna share something with you, ladies. I had mine done I think it was about 15 years ago. My mother actually took me back then. I didn't believe in any of that, right? And I was really strongly going to church, and I was very focused on not believing in anything astrological, because the church and what the church says, and that you shouldn't be believing in astrology and all that, right? But my mother took me anyways and had me do it. And the gentleman who did it for me was he's a famous person here in Miami, in the local Miami area. His name is Mauricio Puerta. He recorded it, and he gave me a written chart. But the written chart that he gave me, he drew it for me, because I'm a person I'm very visual, and I need to see things. So he drew it for me on a paper, and he gave me the recording. So if you have that ability, you know, to hook up with someone like that, make sure that they, like Michi said, make sure that you either record it or have them record it, and have them write it out for you. Because from time to time, I go back to mine and I look at it. And when I saw him, that one time that I saw him, he told me that, number one, that I was going to have 3 kids, right? That I was going to, and I was like, what?
Estás loco.
No, I did. I was like, this guy's crazy. Like, at that point, I was so negative to it that I didn't even believe it. I was like, este hombre está loco. Like, who, you know, like, where am I going to have 2 other kids from, you know? And he also told me, listen to this one. This is the one that's always resonated with me. I've always been like freaked out about, no? He told me, you came into this world with an Aries next to you, and you will die and leave this world with an Aries next to you. My mother's an Aries. My husband's an Aries. They were both born the same day.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, crazy, right? And then on my chart, he aligned. He aligned, like he made a circle, and then he made an X and like a cross and the whole 9 yards, right? And all around me, every single important person in my life resonated with one of the signs that are on my cross. Like it was Aries at the top, then it was Pisces, Gemini, and Capricorn. And I was like, and Sagittarius was like one of my like strongest points, but that was on like on my ex side, right? So every single important person in my life plays a huge part in that cross and in that X that he did for me.
Wow, girl.
Like those are, it's really, it's crazy. And like
but
I said,
let me ask you, don't you think it predisposes you? Like, for example, you know how what you believe is what you manifest? So maybe you have an interpretation from someone, and that interpretation, since you believe it, kind of predisposes you to manifest it. So that kind of scares me a little bit.
I think that there's a fine line there, yes, Lourdes, but I believe also that messages come how they need to come. So what you have to do is trust in your personal energy. Like, how do you feel when you hear something? Because everybody's truth is their own. So if you hear something that sounds like bullshit, you know it. Your body knows it. Your energy knows it. But if it's true, you will feel it. You'll feel it in your 2 chakras, in your heart and in your solar plexus. You will get an energy here that says, I feel that truth. Some of us, like me, when I feel or hear a truth, I get goosebumps. Like I get goosebumps all over. Or I will tear up. Like my eyes will just start tearing up. That's when your heart or your heart chakra is activated. When your heart is activated, it's giving you a signal that it's your truth. Okay? Learn to listen to that. We have been conditioned to not believe in what we feel in our bodies. Our bodies are incredible machines. I mean, they have all of these sensory activations that are connected to the soul, guys. And this is where we forget that we are beautifully designed to interpret the information that we receive. So when it doesn't feel right, it's not right. And you have to learn to discern that for yourself. No one can do it for you. So when you receive information, and yes, you could receive information that sounds like it could be something that's correct, let it sit with you. And that's why that those words that I gave you as tools, the only person that can interpret what those words mean is you. And trust in that. Never just dismiss it. Your body and your soul is always in a state of communication with you. So trust how you feel about those words. And trust how you feel about somebody else saying something to you. Is it true? Ask that question. Is this true? Is it true? And your body will answer. And your soul will answer. Raquel, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was trying to say, how do you start, like, how do you learn more about those feelings? How do you say you get goosebumps and you start tearing up. How do you make your body like identify those kind of feelings? And
well, definitely the information is in stillness. It's not when you're overstimulated with all kinds of things going on. Okay. So try to find your stillness. It doesn't mean that you have to go into deep meditation and do ohms and no. But remember that your breath is life. Remember, we just talked about the first thing that happens when we come into this physical world, we take a breath. And mainly through our nose, not through our mouth, okay? When we breathe through our mouth, we are initiating a fight, flight, freeze mechanism, okay? Like when we're nervous, we breathe through our mouth, right? When we do that, that's not the type of breathing we want. We want to breathe through the nose, in and out through the nostrils deeply, filling up our diaphragm, which is where those two energies lie, the heart and the solar plexus right here. Okay. So, and you can actually do this so you can learn. Put your right hand on the top part of your belly, put your left hand on your heart, okay, and breathe. 3 deep breaths. And you'll see how immediately your entire nervous system calms down. And then you're able to ask a question and feel it in your body. Okay? That's the best tool that I can give you. Of course, the more you meditate and the more you do find a still point, the more you're going to be capable of reading those signals inside of your body. Okay?
Okay.
I think too, Raquel, when you look at each word, at least this is what I felt when I wrote them down. It's like when you look at that word, does it create like your heart beats a little faster and you're like resonating with it and going, yes, I am a leader. I am a communicator, not an instigator. You know, you feel it here in your heart to tell you what it is that you think that you are. That's the way I felt it when I looked at those words.
So we should practice those words in a moment of like you said, Bea, like a moment of stillness, a moment of
Correct.
Like in a room, quiet, like just something you're doing on your own.
It doesn't take a long time. You know, we think that these processes take no, actually, I'm going to share something with you guys that I feel is incredibly important too, especially the young ones, because you guys are so fresh and open and ready to learn. Try to get yourself into a morning routine. Okay? Try to find a morning routine that works for you. I can't emphasize that enough, because what happens is our morning routines, if we do not cherish them and create one that makes us feel good and sets our day in a blessed way, we're going to run through that day. I promise you that day will not feel the same. For me, I have a morning. Yeah, you have learned that, Florinda, greatly. She has a morning routine that is incredibly strong for her. I would recommend, Raquel, that you try to find 5 minutes in the morning to do something that's peaceful, to connect with yourself, to bless the day. It may be that you love having a cup of coffee. That's perfectly great. You know what I'm saying? But relish in the taste of the coffee. Mm-hmm. Like just say, bless the coffee. Say, wow, this is so good. Right? Look at the sky. You know, whatever it may be. For some of us, it might be exercising. For some of us, it might be meditating. For some of us, it might be prayer. For some of us, it just might be sitting in bed for 2 more minutes before we jump and put our feet on the floor. Whatever that is, find yourself a morning routine that allows you to connect with your soul.
It's true. That has been for me big time throughout the years, Bea. Because I was in my 20s. Well, I like to sleep in, always. You know, every single day what I tell myself, no. Today, I'm calling in sick. There is no way that I can get out of bed. There is no way that I can do this. And this has been me my whole entire life. And I never missed a day.
Never. From a girl that has never missed a day. One time.
And I'm always on time, actually early. But this is how I wake up. I like to sleep in. And for me, every single morning was a struggle. And I wanted to sleep in until the very last minute that then I knew I was going to be late. So then I was like, once I was up, I was running. Okay. And that did not serve me well at all. I would get, and then on top of that, you add the Miami traffic to it. I would really get to work already like 9 o'clock where everybody's supposed to be fresh and cool. I was already stressed. And I say that I started even before the pandemic. I started creating my own routine with the meditation, prayer meditation. And then I started trying to add, but it was more like, okay, today I have more time for meditation. Maybe today I'll do yoga. I'll do self-practice. One of the two, I couldn't do both necessarily all the time every morning. But then the pandemic hit, and then I really imposed myself to do it, because no matter what people say, this time is about, if you're lucky enough not to lose someone dearly because of the pandemic, then you really owe yourself to learn something from it. And for me, was definitely one of the many things, was really definitely being able to create that morning routine. I know, my mom tells me, she's like, Florinda, you're another person now. In the morning, I used to call her and I used to get upset with her every single morning. And now she's like, wow, I don't remember last time we actually argued about something. And it's because mommy, maybe I'm not in traffic right now, and I meditated and I did self-practice, those do really help a lot.
No, the morning routine is, I think, one of the most important habits that you can create for yourself.
Yeah.
Promise yourself that you're going to do for 21 days, you're going to have a morning routine, whatever that is. If it's 5 minutes, it's 5 minutes. If it's 10 minutes, it's 10 minutes, whatever it is,
Yeah, we're not talking a long time. Yeah.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't take a long time. And breath work is incredibly grounding. Okay. Breath work is very, very important too. Whenever I'm needing to really fully integrate with myself, I stop and I breathe, because I used to have trouble breathing. I used to find myself holding my breath. From the level of anxiety that I had, I would find myself holding my breath. And I'm like, what the, no. Nowadays, I'm always like breathing nice, relaxed. I don't have those issues anymore. So definitely.
For somebody that's new to meditation, what would you say, like how do we start that routine with meditating? Like for somebody that's never done it before, like in my case, I sometimes think, okay, I'm meditating, but I don't feel myself like I meditated. So I don't know if I'm doing it right or.
This is what I would recommend. Okay. I think that at first we need to be guided. Okay. So find a guidance tool. There's so many apps, but the best one that I use is YouTube. That's how I started. Look for little meditations, like little 10-minute guided meditations that are not overwhelming. Okay. Mm-hmm. And listen to the voice of the person that's guiding you and see if it feels good to you. Because if it annoys you, you're not going to be able to get there. Okay.
That happened to me.
Yeah. Listen to a few people until you find that perfect voice that soothes you. Okay. And put that headphone on. And then I also recommend finding a place that you can call your own. Like it might be a chair, it might be a corner in the floor, in front of a window. You look for a place that you can consistently go to. Because remember I said that our bodies are connected to everything, correct? We're our own little vortex, right? So the body will know, and I always use this example. You know how when you are like, have been holding to go to the bathroom for like an hour, and you got to go, but you're holding it and you're holding it and you're holding it. And then the minute you get up and you're going to go to the bathroom, that's it. You can't hold it anymore. You almost have to like rip your clothes off because your body is saying, oh, she's going to the bathroom. Thank God. Right? The same thing happens with meditation. Okay. If you create a spot and a time that is consistent, your body will say, oh, I'm going to get to meditate now. How good. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. If you're consistent with that, like for me, I meditate anywhere, but where I get the deepest is in my meditation chair with my meditation ottoman, and I'm sitting there. And the moment that I sit down, my body knows I'm going in. Okay? Mm-hmm. So try to be consistent. It's the same thing as the habit of the morning. Because if you create a morning habit, that's the best thing you can do for your own self-love and self-care. And you can announce it to the world. I mean, I don't know who you live with and who's in your world every day, but you can tell them, listen, this is my time. Mm-hmm. And you create that boundary. And believe me, it will be respected.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? Because you decided that it's your time. Okay? People respect
Raquel.
when you respect yourself.
Raquel, I'm in the same boat as you, trying to implement like some meditation in my life. I've been talking to my sister about this for a while now. I put in our chat one that I'm using that I like a lot. It's called Insight Timer. It has little pieces of time that you could pick and choose from the type of meditation you want. It guides you through a person's voice or bells or even like sounds. Really, really great app. If you want to try that, that might help you.
Okay. Thank you, Michelle.
There's also Raquel, there's also an app called Calm, which is similar to the one that Michelle just talked about.
Okay.
That's the one that I'm using. It's called Calm.
Calm. Okay. Thanks, Deb.
Yeah. But if you don't want to spend money on an app or anything like that, you can use YouTube just as easily because, I mean, the whole point is just to get you started, priming you up. You got to prime the pump, okay? Once you get used to it, then you can find your way. And there is no 100% perfect way, okay? There's no such thing. In fact, that's why meditation can even be done on a labyrinth, walking. Meditation doesn't necessarily mean closing your eyes and, putting your legs crossed. No, meditation is a state of focus that is quiet. That's all it is. Meditation is focus, attention with stillness. That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
And you start seeing the results once you start, do you know when it starts working in you, when things in your life start changing? Is it true?
Me, yes.
Okay.
For me, it's a life changer, right? Florinda, how long have you been meditating now?
About 2 years.
2 years.
But I'm still in the guided meditation stage, for real. I don't feel that is still something that I have learned deeply how to do, but I don't give up. Well, I don't give up. So
She's my Aries, guys. She's my Aries. I love her. She never gives up.
But
Lourdes, you're my Aries too.
Time. Lourdes.
I have some amazing.
I'm an Aries, but the lady that read my natal chart told me that when I was born, that I'm really more of a Taurus.
Which that makes sense to me too.
Isn't that funny?
Yes.
Does it?
Yes, it makes perfect sense to me.
She says that, so have you had your natal chart read, Miss Aries? I don't know who that was.
Florinda.
No, and actually, I'm so intrigued by it that I definitely, Bea, you need to guide me through that, and I'm going to have it done.
Okay, definitely. I hope Tatiana in the near future, our in-house astrologer. That's her goal.
Hi, yes, actually.
Christina.
Hi, yes, actually, I wanted to thank you, everyone, because it's been a lot of things that I can relate to, and it's always a perfect time when I see Bea and she speaks the perfect words for my perfect time. This was was my question, a life purpose, and to find that. And a lot of things I related to. And I'm grateful for the sharing of this natal charts and astrology, because this is also another topic which I was thinking to do. And I wonder if somebody knows the person who can do it, who can be trusted in doing that.
I do. Christina. I'll share that with you.
Yeah.
That would be amazing if you can share, because I'm really interested in that. And like I said, I agree that it shouldn't be taken as a manuscript, as a script for your life, but it should be taken as how I feel about this information which I receive.
Correct.
So
a piece of the puzzle.
I totally agree with that. Mm-hmm. Totally agree with that.
You have been meditating very seriously for a while now, right? Should she get off?
Me?
Oh, Christine.
Me?
Yes, you've been meditating also for a long time.
Yes, I've been meditating, and I've been to wonderful courses actually, which you can go through a lot of meditation techniques, which for each person it's actually different things. different things works for the same purpose. So it was very interesting to try out different meditation techniques in order to see what transformation can occur. And if somebody's interested, I can recommend one wonderful course which calls Finder's Course. It's a very intense course and it's a lot of transformation. And I did a transition, what you call enlightenment. Yes, it's like transition when you actually go into the another perspective of the world. And so whatever Bea is saying, Bea is totally like, I don't know how many times she transitioned in her life, because she is speaking totally like the raw truth. I would say, I would call it the raw truth, and so intuitively. So
Thank you,
yes,
Christine.
if somebody's interested, I can give that information.
Yes, we can share. We can share these ideas in our chat. You know, anything that you want to share, and I would love to hear from you all whenever you're ready. It's not something that I want you to rush through, as to how you feel about the words that resonate on your purpose. And also, if you want to share your mission statements, your personal mission statements, I'd love to hear them too, because that makes me feel that, you know, all of you are really connecting with the information that I'm giving. So I'd love to hear from you guys, and anything that you guys want to share regarding meditation, tools, or we could put them on the chat as well so that everybody has access to them. I highly recommend it. For me, it's been very life-changing.
Bea, are you going to add to those titles?
Because I feel that there's a few that are missing.
Yeah.
Like healer. You know, these are going to be I'm going to add my own personal ones, but I'm also going to add the list and how to discover your archetype from the Carol and Miss information that I read as well, which I think is very helpful. Because there's words in her list that they take the archetypal role, such as the victim. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, like on that list was the warrior. For a while there, I circled warrior because I felt that I was a warrior. And the reason that I felt that I was a warrior is because I was fighting to find my way back home. You get me? I was on this journey to find my way, and it felt like a fight. It felt like I was in battle, right? Yeah. But I've given up that role. I'm not a warrior that way anymore.
It's called the hero's journey.
Yes, my hero's journey has transitioned from warrior to teacher. I realized that I don't have to be fighting anymore. I've dropped the survival mode, which I was in big time. And that was like a big gerbil wheel that I was on all day, okay? And now I'm no longer want to be the warrior. I want to, because I believe that if you're a warrior, you're always in a battle. You're always fighting something. That's why I don't like to use words like, let's fight cancer. Let's fight diabetes. You can't fight fire with fire. You have to love it away. You understand? And I choose to love. I choose to be more in love and in that energy state than in fear or anything that is energetically weigh me down. You understand? Like anger. When we fight, we're in anger. And when we're in anger, we're in fear. Plain and simple. But there was a time in my life where that served me very well. You know, it served me very, very well. I was able to survive that entire period in my life that took a lot to do within myself. And now I'm in a state that I've dropped the warrior. So I will add to the list and I will share it. And I will also share, I think, Carol and Miss' book, Sacred Contracts. I highly recommend it. It's an incredible book. She is a brilliant woman. And honestly, if you want, you can listen to her on YouTube. She's been doing every single day talks on YouTube. And she's an amazing, amazing woman. So
who's that again?
Carol and Miss. Carolyn Miss. And
MISS?
MYSS. MYSS. I find her work to be incredibly brilliant. She's an amazing woman. So if you have any other questions, I'm here. And if not, we'll call it a day. Yes, Deb?
I don't have a question. What I do want to share with everybody is just to be mindful that the chat that we created is only for information purposes, so that if anybody wants to share anything with Bea, go ahead and do it through there, but send her a private message to her directly, only because I don't want anybody jumping off that call. I don't want anybody jumping off that chat. I wanted to keep it like we had promised from the beginning, just an informational purpose chat.
Okay. Thanks.
So
Deb.
like if you like Bea, if you want to share like that list, that's the perfect place to share it. But if anybody wants to share like recommendations also, but like getting into conversation and stuff like that, I don't want to do that, because I would like to keep it as an information chat so that everybody feels comfortable staying there.
I find it annoying to have constant. Yeah,
right.
I agree.
Ding, ding.
Yeah, that little.
I wanted to share something.
Yes.
So you were speaking earlier. You were speaking about the way you feel when something is true to you. You were saying that you might feel goosebumps. You were saying that you might cry. And something that, as you're speaking, as you guys are talking, I'm still looking at the list, and I'm still looking at those two words. Like, I see the whole list, but my eyes just go for those two words, right?
Sacrifice.
Yes, and I'm like reflecting on, remembering what you said about me. And those are the words that I'm looking to. And as you were saying it, I felt goosebumps. Like me, I'm a Cancer. I'm a very emotional person.
Now I get it.
Like my eyes were getting, a little bit watery. I'm really emotional person. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. It's like, and I totally agree. Like when I feel something that is, when I strongly believe in something, or like something is really true, I tend to get a lot, like really emotional, and I guess goosebumps. And like you said that, and then I felt that, and then I'm like, okay, that's all.
So now you know you're fine. You see, and you as a Cancer, because you're a Cancer, to Cancers, their family life is everything. Like their home, their family, they will self-sacrifice for their family big time. That is a classic Cancer move. Classic. I mean, that's their thing. If their family life is out of control, or they were going to step in and sacrifice themselves to create the harmony, because they will not permit that to happen. I mean, the worst thing you can do to a Cancer is take away their family.
But I think a lot of us would do that.
Sure, but for Cancer specifically, that's just their energy. That's just what they are, natural nurturers. Cancers are natural.
Cancers will sacrifice love for their family.
Yeah, absolutely.
They will sacrifice self-love and love to others for their family.
Correct.
So will other signs. I have news for you.
No.
Well, mind you, this is why I say this. It's not all about your sun sign. The sun sign is only 8% of your personality. There's other influences in your chart. You can still have Cancer energy within yourself and have energies of other signs.
Correct.
Don't just stick to your sun sign.
For sure. Should
we add astrology to the laws of life that you gave us?
Well, I cannot consider myself, that's not my strength. I know a lot about astrology because I do know how important it is as a basis. I'm a double Sag. So imagine I am, I know myself very, very well. I think that that's actually one of the best things about astrology is one of the things you want, one of the top things you want to do is know yourself. What? The more you know yourself.
I thought we said after 2:00.
Deb, we hear you.
Oh, sorry guys. Sorry.
The more you know yourself, the more capable you are of going out into the world and being authentic and true and understanding, oh wow, that that is truth to me. You get me? So astrology is part of that picture. It's part of the puzzle. It's just one aspect, but I'm not an expert. Maybe Tatiana can enlighten us a little bit more on astrology. I'd love for her to share that spotlight.
Absolutely. It helps you come into yourself and fully accept who you are. Because, instigator can be looked at in a negative way, but instigator can be someone who instigates to bring something good into the forefront.
And also, I want to bring something, this will be one of our last thoughts because we can go on forever.
Yeah, for sure.
Remember that I said in other previous talks that the earth plane is a school for polarity and duality. Okay? It is a school for polarity and duality. We do not understand the light without the dark. Okay? So each sign, by the way, each part of you, each aspect of you is positive and negative. So there's positive sides to the Cancer, and there's negative sides to the Cancer, like self-sacrifice. And the reason that is resonating with you at this moment in time is because the message is being sent through me right now that you may be out of balance with yourself, because in your nature to self-sacrifice, you are giving too much without receiving enough. You understand? And what happens when we don't put money in the bank and we take out deposits, right? When we pull it out without depositing, we run out of money, right? So that can happen to us. If we don't deposit self-love enough, it turns into the opposite, which is self-sacrifice. Okay? The whole idea in this earth school is to get balanced. We have to stay in our masculine and our feminine, not masculine or our feminine. It's always and. Okay? We want to be in balance. To be able to function on this planet properly, we need to find the harmony. And that's why we're so out of balance on this planet, because there is no harmony at this moment between the masculine and the feminine. When things get crazy, like they just have in the last couple of days, and there's now protests, okay? There's now protests. Guess what protests are? They are the nurturing feminine trying to find balance, okay? Because the masculine energy went crazy. It went warrior mode and went too far. Am I right? Right? So we're seeing this evidence in these last 2 days.
We're trying to fight fire with fire.
Correct. And you can't do that. We need to fight with love. Okay?
That's what Jesus, not to get religious, but supposedly that was the whole purpose of Jesus, was to create so much love that it would fight the evil, in the world.
Correct. But again, it's always about a balance between the two forces, because we are always, while we are in this physical form and this earth school, we're always going to have the positive and the negative. You're never going to have one without the other. It's about having them work together as a team that we get the best out of it all. Okay? It's not that money is bad. It's that money turned to greed is bad. Correct? Money is not a bad energy. Money is a good energy. But if it's in greed, it becomes a negative energy. So you get me? So I love that you brought that up, Nayara, because when you are out of balance and you're feeling inside of yourself that you're self-sacrificing, is because you are giving too much and feeling guilty for receiving. Okay? So listen to yourselves always and find the balance in the center. That's the way you're going to find your voice and your truth. So I hope today's lessons on purpose, ego, and truth resonated. And I can tell they have, because I'm feeling the love from you guys right now. Thank you so much for sharing this with me and for letting me be the teacher that I am. Love you.
Thank you, Bea.
Love you. Thank you.
You're You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Look at this cutie. These new babies.
Thank you so much.
Such a cutie.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Christina.
Thank
Love
you.
Bye, Kristen.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.